Okay, now we're recording for today. If you're wondering why this video is a bit shorter, we recorded a tutorial before this for blueprints, and so today's development stream is a bit shorter than usual, but we're back to full days starting tomorrow. And then on Friday, we have more Kingdom Come to Deliverance 2, as well as on Saturday. So I need to finish that game, and it is long. All right, let's get our data table open, because we're working on loot tables today for enemies. Right now we just have the zombie and the skeleton, so we'll start with those. Let's get some new rows in here. Oops, why? Don't be that way. Make a game where you murder as many civilians as possible. Doesn't that game exist? Isn't that called Postal? Or GTA? Alright, let's see what I have icons for. Icons. We have some meat. Ew. You have some gross looking meat. That would work pretty good for like zombie flesh. Make me sick. Exactly it. Okay, let's see. Ingredient icons. Go. Tea. Zombie flesh. What else do we have? I want at least enemies to drop something unique. At least one thing that's unique. You know, there could be some... Ooh, that's pretty good too. But if there are multiple, that would be nice as well. Ender pearls? That's the wrong game, sir. Oh, they can drop a mounted zebra head. Are you happy having that back? Yeah, these kind of suck. Ooh, a zombie brain. That could be good too. T zombie brain. You decided on the drop specifically? No. Nope. Nope. These are all. I consider all of this placeholder. Like some of these might be in the final game, but right now I just need things that make sense, that are enough to sell publishers on the idea of the game. Then we get our $3 to $4 million in funding. Then we hire people and we make everything correctly. We're still a bit of ways off from that though. Like a good skull. Human skull. There's this kind of. A rib cage. $3 million. Yeah, 3 to 4 million is likely what's needed. We intend for about 15 people full time over the course of 3 years to make the game. That's our initial estimation. I could make the skeletons drop junk as well. They have bows and arrows. Could make them drop some arrows. Or a quiver. I don't have a bow though. Let's see. Let's make some junk. $5 and you'll do it. You guys are cheap. Looking for into publishers such as Coffee Stain or Team 10. Yeah. Yeah, I think both of those we will reach out to. We'll reach out to Devolver. I think also, who am I thinking here in Poland? There's a couple in Poland that would have the money. Most Polish publishers don't have the money for us though. At most, we talked to them, we pitched them initially, and they were willing to spend about $1 million in the game, but we need more than that. But, it's important for us to find publishers that have, the same ideals and values as us. So we're very transparent. We don't believe in any blockchain, loot boxes, NFTs, pay for DLC, like shitty, like pay for convenience DLC, day one DLC, nothing that'll scam people, dupe people, con players. We're very much a premium game. You pay it, you get it, you can do what you want with it, you can cheat in it, you can mod it, we don't care, it's your game. That's who we are, so we need to find publishers that are aligned with those values too, and that will not try to force us into any stupid live service models or bullshit that we don't want to do as a developer. Commerce slaves aren't real. Yeah. Don't pick Tencent. No, we're not. Here's the thing. I'm not going to take money from anybody. Even if I were offered $10 million from Tencent tomorrow, I wouldn't take it. And the reason is because they wouldn't align with our values. What am I doing? I need junk. Junk. Let's do one of these arrows. Yeah, you can do it solo. You can make games solo. It's slower. You definitely can't make anything as complex as other places, but it definitely works. I don't like working solo for the most part, though, so I'm very much looking forward to a team. This is getting too emotional. T-belt. Okay, we'll add belt, bone, bow, and arrow as lootable junk. I think on a team of 2. Small teams are great. I don't want any team larger than like 15 people. Because at that point, then you have to have much more rigid structures and hierarchy of teams, and communication starts to break down and become more difficult to handle. But a good team of 10 to 15 solid people can maintain a good game vision themselves. 4 to 5 is a good start for work. Yeah, I think so too. 4 to 5 is very efficient. 5 to 7 is good. Those are all pretty good sizes. Yeah, we're not looking to become like next AAA. I think our vision, our goal is to become a developer like Supergiant, where you have this small team of very experienced individuals that have been working together, and they make games of similar scope, and they just increase the quality and depth of those games as they go along. But no AAA for us. That was Lesson. Lesson was good. Lesson was good. I hope it was good, actually. You only need 5 to 7 to make AAA? I wouldn't say that. I disagree completely. Make AAA? Depends on the game. I mean, you can make very high, you can make III games, but they will take many years, many more years than a 3 to 5 year project. And for a lot of developers, they don't want to work on the same game for like 10 years. I certainly wouldn't. 5 to 7? I don't think so. I would say AAA is based on both budget and team size, to be honest, but they go hand in hand. I don't think you can make a AAA game with 5 to 7 people, though. Ain't no way. I'm gonna make like the skeleton marrow. That can be an ingredient. Competence is important, but I think also the way that people interact, like communication, how well you can learn, those are also important as well. Okay, I spelled that right. My name is Tencent practically owns 30% of Larian Studios, and BG3 turned out great. Should look more into how Tencent operates rather than assuming what they do. Well, the thing is that once you're beholden to large companies like that, it's not that those large companies are necessarily bad, but they have one goal at the end of the day: to make a profit. And once you're beholden to that, you will be forced, like Larian Studios was, to release a game early, even though Tencent could have funded them a bit further, but they didn't. So Baldur's Gate 3 was released too early because they were afraid of Starfield, and therefore it had some pretty big bugs and issues on release. So, you know, it is what it is. We are a sole member LLC, so we don't have shares. Nobody can buy us. There's no way to do it. It cannot exist with us. Imagine being scared of Starfield. Well, they were. I would not say skill of the team is determination. No, they're actually most experienced developers are working in smaller teams, not larger teams. And those smaller teams are not AAA. It's opinion on remote working. I don't like remote working, but I'm in the minority there. Okay, what are the ingredients we have here? ING, skeleton, marrow. I don't know what we can do with that yet. Maybe dried, fermented, cooked, distilled. Dried, fermented, cooked, distilled. Are we still on for later? It depends. You mentioned you wanted you wanted to call me, right? About how long would that take? Because I do have some things to do tonight. I thought AAA games just meant highest secure return on investment. I mean, defining AAA is kind of confusing, isn't it? But I would define it as primarily budget. Budget, maybe team size. But there's no set definition for it. Yeah. Yep. Shitty piece of skin. Go. Okay, zombie brain and zombie flesh. Zombie brain. What do we want to be able to do to the zombie brain? Dried, cut, ground, fermented, cooked. Probably everything but distilled. I will say though, a ground zombie brain sounds pretty gross. Dried, cut, ground, fermented, and cooked. Can always reschedule. No, we can call. I don't know if you mean like 30 seconds or 30 minutes or like 2 hours or something. End of the day, Tencent doesn't care about the game at all. They will provide funding, but they don't care about the game or the player base. Yeah, I mean that's really what it comes down to. And I don't want to work with any publisher that doesn't respect gamers. I don't want to work with anybody that doesn't respect gamers. will not hire any developers that have stupid negative views of gamers or have said something negative about gamers. I'll work with a publisher that doesn't prioritize quality above other things. So I'm very picky when it comes to publishers that I'll work with. Zombie flesh. Fried, cut, ground, sure. Fermented, cooked. Yeah, pretty much everything here too. This industry doesn't lack profit maximizing experts. Look, at the end of the day, a company needs to make money to survive. That's just the truth, and that will never change. And the priority for me as a business owner will be to make sure that my employees are fed and being given their salaries. And there might be some cases where we might have to make those tough decisions. The difference between us is that I will be honest about it, and I'm not going to tell you that, hey, this feature is in the game, please buy it, when it's clearly not in the game. Honesty, transparency. That's core to the way we work, and that's core to our values as a company. That's why we stream game development. Like, if there's a problem, we just say it. But also, we are ethical, and I don't believe in releasing games in a state that is not stable or complete. Alright, let's see here. Drag this down. Still without formatting. These should already be hooked up with their proper parts. We don't have a type for monster parts or for something like that, so we just kind of consider them animal parts at the moment. Is what it is. Greed aspect. Well, a lot of people in the positions of power are greedy, and they don't care about games. Like, so many ways you can interact with my world. Almost anything is that AAA yet? No. I wouldn't say so. I don't know, but the definition of AAA is like defining what is an RPG. What is an RPG game? Help define that one, chat. Settle a age-old game designer debate. It's one of the most enjoyable topics you can have with game designers. What's an RPG? Talkable NPCs. I mean, in that case, my game would be a AAA game too, Odin. But my game is definitely not AAA. Far from it. Very, very indie. Normal, dried, fermented, cooked, distilled. Normal, dried, cut, ground. For most people, the definition of AAA is some weird combination of hierarchy, amount of people working on the game, budget. My acronym is, it is role-playing game. It is role-playing game, but what does it mean to play a role? Games with, progression systems are defined as RPG games. RPG is a game that focuses on player choice. What about RPG games without player choice? Games that are defined as RPG but don't actually have any player choice in them. Hey Speedbreaker, how you doing? Happy Monday. Persona. Yeah, maybe one. AAA is more how much people you got than how good the game is. Yes. Yeah, that's what most people define it. I mean, because if AAA was a definition of how good the game is, I certainly wouldn't say Dragon Age of Valgard is a AAA game. But it is. Oh, lots of questions. If you really consider it a true RPG game, you need to have two main things: player agency and emergent gameplay. Of course, there are a lot of other things, but most of those systems are found in other games as well. I think that, we had a good Tim Kaine reaction with that, where he defined it as like a spectrum, where the more things that you have on this spectrum, and the deeper those things are, the more of an RPG game you are. I think that that's a good explanation too. Can you name an example of an RPG game that does not focus on player choice? You could probably find one. Let me open up Steam. I would actually say bigger teams and bigger budget has a lower return on investment. I think that inherently the larger your budget, the bigger the risk. And because of that, you are also going to be likely to not have a large ROI. Most RPG games lack severely in the player agency emergent gameplay aspect of design. This is true. Like Borderlands 3. I mean, Borderlands is considered an RPG game. And yet, I would say that it is... I mean, look at the first tag is RPG. But I would argue that Borderlands 3 is not much of an RPG in the traditional definition of it. There isn't even a whole lot of player choice that occurs in Borderlands games. I love Borderlands. I still enjoy Borderlands games, but not 3. But I don't think they're that much of an RPG game. Is cold approaching studios bad, and what do you think a graduate should do to get entry-level roles? Cold approaching indie studios is bad. Not because they'll hate you for it, but because they probably don't have time to give you the attention that you would need. And indie studios are also some of the worst studios to probably get a entry-level role on. Because indie studios probably don't have the bigger budgets that would be needed to fund junior-level developers. Ironically enough, the larger the studio, the more likely you are to find junior level roles. And sadly, you are also probably going to find the least knowledgeable people at those studios in some cases. Not all cases, but in some cases. Non-linear progression should define RPG. It's a pretty good definition. I think that's fair. The skeleton marrow. Systems like leveling, dialogue, character customization are RPG elements, but ultimately what makes a game RPG is the freedom of choosing a path for your character. Role-playing. Playing a character that qualifies it as an RPG. But is playing a character the same as being able to play a character that you can... as playing your character, right? So, would you define Witcher 3 as more or less of an RPG as Skyrim? Because in one case you play Geralt, and in the other case you play your Dragonborn. Action adventure with RPG elements. Less of an RPG than Skyrim because the world has less consequences. I would argue that Witcher 3 probably has more consequences, especially with... I don't know. I gotta think back. I played both... I played Witcher 3 once, I played Skyrim a number of times. Witcher 3 side quests had more consequence to the world, I think, than Skyrim. I don't know. They're both pretty similar, I think, in amount of consequences. It's so weird. It's so weird defining an RPG and what makes a game more or less of an RPG. What? Okay. Got weird. Okay, these will not have any biome associated with them. They will not have any light requirements. They are animal parts. No seasons. They will have effects, but we won't fill those out just yet. Or flavor. They do not have seeds. We'll give them a value and set their map to both. I think it's easy to confuse player agency with versus character agenda. I like that. That's very well. I think that is very true and very concisely put. The problem is when you pitch an RPG game to a publisher, you have to tell them, and I hate it, but I have to tell them to what amount my game is an RPG game. And it's kind of frustrating because I feel like it wastes a lot of time in the pitch. Define how my game's RPG systems are different from other RPG systems. Okay, that looks good. Do I have my string file? I do have my string file. I will put these in directly. Anyone played Outer Worlds? Yes. Yes, I have played Outer Worlds, and I like the game. I think that it was pretty forgettable in some cases, but it wasn't unenjoyable. Just forgettable. Well, that didn't work. Oh, I used to have a proper thing that did this for me, but whatever. I'm in no rush today. Setting yourself apart in a saturated market is always going to be difficult. It is. Sometimes, though, being unique isn't always the same as being better. There are a lot of publishers out there who recognize that. That too. Yeah, that too. You know, we talk about when we're, you know, when I'm talking about like game design stuff, I mentioned that unique selling points won't always sell a game, and selling points may not always be unique. Sometimes your game can just do nothing very new, but it can do everything better. A good example would be, in my opinion, Ghost of Tsushima. I don't think that that game did very much new, but it did everything exceptionally well. It is a great, great game. Similar director said put the game first and the revenue will follow. I kind of disagree with this idea. When there is a good game that did not make it, what are your thoughts about the statement? I think he's not wrong, but he's not completely accurate. You can have good games that sell horribly and horrible games that sell well. Making a game good and making it marketable are two completely different focuses. But to make any game, I think that your best case scenario to making a game profitable from a financial perspective is to make a good game. that doesn't mean that every good game is going to be financially successful, but that at the end of the day, having a good game is your best setup for success. To make it, you also need to have good marketing or luck to expose your game. True. Get that marketing is sometimes more important than how good your game is, and I hate that. You can have the best game ever, but if people don't know about it, it won't make it. Yeah, and that's why a lot of indie developers end up failing, unfortunately, is because they are, they can make a good game, but they want to remain independent. I get this, but at the same time, by remaining independent, you need to be really, really good at marketing your game. Because like you said, if people don't know that it exists, they will not buy it. And aligning yourself with a publisher can give you that visibility at the expense of some of the profit. It's unfortunate. It's the way it is. I know this is an inefficient way to do this, but I'm just chilling today. Balanced experience isn't always the same as a fair and just one, and landing exactly in the middle of that line isn't always, or even usually, the same as making the most fun game you can. I think that there are a lot of indie developers that attempt to make very original games, but at the same time that they do that, they are not making a marketable game, and they're not making a game that appeals. If you're going to make a game and you need it to be financially successful, you need to be aware of the market, and you need to make a game that has the ability to be financially successful. Making the next best platformer might be fun for you, and it might be a fun platformer, but you need to be aware of the saturation of the market, especially lower quality platformers. I hate to say it. And you need to be aware of the size of that genre and how much the competition is actually selling. You know, I can sell an RPG game to a publisher for a 3 to 4 million investment because RPG games are a very big genre. But if I said I'm gonna make a racing game, I need $10 million, that game better look fucking good. Because a lot of people will not buy a racing game unless it has good graphics. I hate to say it, but that's kind of the truth. Some genres come with implicit requirements for certain things in order to sell well, and that comes with an implicit budget that does need to be met in order to make that game successful, in most cases. See Genshin making billions, waifus, and actually Genshin is itself a good game. I agree with Dremox. Like honestly, if the game wasn't super grindy and didn't have the horrible gacha mechanics with horrible rates, Genshin is actually just a really, really good game. And that's why people play it, is because it's fun, it's relaxing, it has good systems. It's well made. Genshin is a well made game. Both from a predatory microtransaction perspective and a game perspective. Just call it skeleton marrow. It's harrowing to play. Yeah, well, some games be like that, don't they? The string system is shitty, but it works. A lot of indie developers too will try to make their game from scratch, when I think that they could get financing for their game and make it a lot quicker and faster and better. You don't get the waifu obsession. Hot dudes and hot ladies. That's really what it comes down to. Oopsies. Oh, this is zombie brain. Spaced out a bit. People like hot people. Until you have to compete with those hot people. And then people do not like hot people. Goals to recreate the days of PS1, PS2. I will say that games with classic looking graphics have a very, very strong, dedicated fan base that are often playing multiple genres. Since I'm super smart, to make it easier to get financing, when I put the team together, I choose people who have absolutely zero experience making video games and have to learn everything about their jobs from nothing. Well, I'll tell you something that I've been trying to learn as a leader. You cannot motivate people. Leaders cannot motivate people. Leaders can inspire and they can drive. They cannot motivate. Oops, these zombie flesh. You can hire the best experienced people in the world who also have zero motivation. And vice versa. That's why I want to hire people that love games and love making games, not just people who are experienced. People who love making games will naturally be, I think, better learners, and they will desire to make a good game just implicitly, as opposed to somebody who is good at their job but doesn't really give a shit about games. I remember tried to make a game with game modders, and then he created Daikatana. I was a game modder before I became a game developer. Modders are hit and miss when it comes to game development. Be easy to forget that. Yeah, I mean, you can always... Some people are in this for money. Some people are in this because it's what they do. And some people are in this because they love what they're doing. And I think that, inevitably, you are likely to get better quality products and a more passionate team when you hire people that are loving what they do, even if they may not be as good. I stole that a bit from Tim Kaine. Alright, where are my strings? Shootings. Re-import. And let's import our new ingredients too. Export this. I think skeleton flesh is a fantastic reagent. Skeleton flesh or skeleton marrow? Oh, kind of like a bottled lightning. How do you even get that? Good question. So actually skeleton flesh. No money in video games. Yeah, there really isn't really... There's no money for developers in video games. But there is a lot of money in video games. Yeah, those are fine. Okay, those look good. We just need colors for these. Skeleton marrow. What color is bone marrow? It's like a kind of like a pale red, isn't it? Kind of like pinkish red, like this color. I think. Zero, this is 1, comma, 0.25, 0.2. Alright. Zombie brain is probably also very similar. We can do like greenish maybe. Sickly green. I know it doesn't look like that, but... that'll work. Oops. These are just placeholder colors, by the way. We don't need them to be too crazy. All they do is color the cube in the jar that the player interacts with. They will be replaced eventually, this whole coloring system. Okay, that'll work, and let's see, zombie flesh should be a nice reddish meat color. That'll work. Pretty much 0.62 on the red. All right. And we can fix up the formatting on that. Oh. Okay, we can export and re-import that. Now we have our colors. Perfect. DT loot table. Loot zombie. Rule of cool, yeah, rule of cool is always nice too. Rule of cool, designing for emotions. I think that there are 10,000 different ways to properly design games. And you just gotta figure out what works for you. Okay, we should be able to see these in our ingredients. They won't have any sort of flavors or effects yet, but we should be able to see them. There they are. I forgot to give them values. That's fine. We can fix that too. And we can see them on our ingredient shelf. That is fine. That works. Okay, loot zombie. Zombie, zombie, zombie. What do we want for zombies? Probably 3 poles maybe on the table. We do have some gold. Tables. We'll do loot table, loot gold. Amount 1, weight 3. We can always make some guaranteed loot as well. Do a poll on the junk table as well. That's it for me. Thank you, Frank2, for the follow, the subscribe. It was great to meet you. And yeah, if there's anything that you missed from the tutorial video or you want to see it again, it will be available later today. We will upload all of that. But thank you so much for the support, and hope you have a good bit of sleep. Take care. And for anybody who's lurking here, you do not have to type in the chat for me to be thankful that you're here. I hope you all are just having a nice time today. Where is my junk table? Okay, junk, we added what did we add for junk? Arrow belt bone bow. Arrow belt bone bow. Arrow belt bone bow. It would be cool if you could break down bones into the bone marrow. I don't have a system for that yet, but it would be pretty easy. Would be pretty easy. Or if you could like drop them on the ground and I don't know. We'll see. Stuff like that would be really fun to work on. DT strings. Yeah, no spawn data, no usable spawn data. Exclude from random loot. I don't think we will exclude from random loot. No, I'll just make one and update that. So J, arrow, icon, arrow, strings. I don't have strings for these yet. Okay, arrow. We have 4 of these. Belt, bone bow. Belt. I do a lot of like placeholder descriptions here just because it's when a publisher looks at this, they're not going to say, oh, you have placeholder descriptions in your prototype. That must mean you're going to keep placeholder descriptions in the final game too. It's kind of a waste of time to work on it too much. I'm getting ready some stuff for making money for my game. Set up itch.io and a Patreon. I'm also about to set up Steam later on. Well, that sounds great. Yeah, if there's anything, any knowledge you gain from that you can share with us, that'd be great. There's like some hidden secrets. Any of those. Okay, arrow, row name should be here. It is not sorted. Description. We can just give this anything. All right, duplicate, duplicate, belt bone bow. I will change this to leather belt. Ursaths, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Hope you're doing well today. Yeah, actually, I already bought the Steam SDK stuff. I already bought that for Cauldron Chronicles. And I might do a separate one for Cauldron Chronicles prototype testing. We'll work on that. Okay, this is the belt. Description. We'll set this value to 5. Getting the value right doesn't really matter. Just a prototype. Okay, and the bow. Okay, arrow, belt, bone bow. Looks good. I never made a random junk getter. But I should. Right now I won't though. Yeah, let me know how the Patreon stuff goes. Since I stream, I kind of just tell people like, hey, if you wanna support us financially, just buy a sub. That way you won't get ads and you get emotes too. Granted, I don't play ads anyway. Ads suck. Well, best of luck on those money-making ventures. Belt bone bow. Okay, let's see. Stop it. Oh, it's annoying. There we go. What's your plan for advertising? Okay, Loot Zombie guaranteed will for sure give flesh and a brain, or we can say let me think here. Zombies can always drop flesh but may not drop brain. Let's do it that way. Yeah, I'll turn the fishing on again after today. How you doing, Rex? We had to turn it off because we were doing the blueprint tutorial, and I didn't want that appearing all the time. Just to make that cleaner. Strikes with fishing again, yeah. Don't worry, I'll turn back on. I think a big question in game development, which is often not discussed, is how you create a unique gameplay loop that most people will understand without sacrifices. What do you mean by sacrifices? Defining gameplay loops are pretty easy, but that's because people often overcomplicate loops. Making a loop fun to replay is where it gets difficult. That's where depth comes into play, depth and the variety. Or just how fun is it to actually replay your game? Because some games are really fun, they have great gameplay loops, a lot of variety, but they have very low replayability. Not that every game needs to be replayable. But arcade games often have very simple loops with, you know, levels that are very quick to complete, so they are very replayable, but they often don't have a lot of depth or variety in some cases. Because they're meant to be enjoyable because they are easy to get into, hard to master, and have high replayability. Sacrifice like throwing away an idea because you think the majority will not understand it. It would take too many resources to go through with it. Every genre will be different. Every market will be different too. Like, you could be making an action game, but if it's an action game that's targeted towards 60-year-old players versus 12-year-old players, you know, you might have to make some differences in the way that your game plays and the way that you expect players to intuit controls or something. But most gameplay loops are very simple. You know, they're all kind of predicated on the start somewhere, do action, get reward, make yourself better kind of thing, right? Or game gets harder. It's like a skill-based game. Could be a combination of both. Games like Fortnite are targeted at 12-year-olds. Well, a lot of players in that demographic. And they have a propensity for stealing mom's credit card. That is very much enjoyed by people in that scenario. Okay, let's do a loot junk table. Amount 1, weight 1. Yeah, weight 2. 60% chance to get gold, 40% chance to get junk. Guaranteed zombie flesh, and a possibility for flesh. Loot, zombie, brain. Zombie flesh N. Zombie brain N. Ingredient amount 1, weight 1, and then we'll do a nothing draw with weight 1. 50% chance to get nothing. Anyways, to advertise a game from word of mouth. Others through giving free copies to specific people who stream. Also doing it yourself manually for months, and then they're hiring advertisers, but then they're Valor Studio, they have a place on the website for indie devs like us. They do, but will it work? Will you convert people over to wish lists? People do appreciate transparency, especially now. When, you know, I think that thankfully nowadays people and players are more discerning between CGI bullshit trailers versus actual gameplay. Sadly, that isn't the case in every scenario, though. Look at the game Alcahest. Very well made trailer, zero gameplay. Zero gameplay, but a lot of players I think would still look at that and not notice that that game has no gameplay. If you're curious, I'll show you the trailer. This game has zero gameplay. GTA 6 trailer has no gameplay. Well, it's also coming from a studio that has proven that they know how to make games, and they know how to make the games that they're wanting to make. So that's not to say that GTA 6 will be good, but if we compare Rockstar's previous games, we know that at the very least, we're probably going to expect some pretty good quality and depth to the gameplay. But showing complete gameplay in trailers, I think, is what players most enjoy, or at least stating this is gameplay versus this is cinematic. And unfortunately, nowhere here does it say this is gameplay or CGI, and it is all CGI. All of it, 100%. There's no gameplay to this. And unfortunately, it fools a lot of people. But not everybody. Thankfully, players are getting knowledgeable about this. Wake up, dude. It is not gameplay. This is none of it. It's a very well-made trailer, but all fake. Alright, we got the zombie working. Where is our zombie class where I can change its loot? There you are. Oh. Okay, I think I want 2 polls on loot zombie. One poll on loot zombie guaranteed. And then 1 poll on loot zombie brain. Publishers appreciate it too. When we made our trailer last year with what we had, which was only like after 3 months of gameplay, I think, or 3 months of development. Very simple. Where was it? It was here. We did at least state, and I think that publishers love this, that all footage is actual gameplay. Because at least I could show it to them, and I could prove to them as a, a studio that was completely fresh, hey, we know what we're doing. Everything you see here is playable, and you can play it yourself by jumping into the level. And I'll be doing the same thing for this next pitching session. Alright, let's see if the zombie works. Should work. Okay. Oops. There he is. I lost him for a second. Okay, zombie. Zombie flesh, bow, and gold. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Looks good. Next up is the skeleton. Sure the trailer feels like a trailer? Yeah. That always helps too. If you're showing your trailer to publishers, showing, all of the cinematic, action-y, special effects stuff is, I think, okay. But, with publishers, you want to minimize risk as well as sell them the game. So publishers might want to see that you can actually make the game that you're intending to make, whereas players want to see what game you're trying to make. And they kind of just take it on blind faith that you can actually make the game that you're intending to make. And sadly, we saw that with Wayward Realms on Kickstarter. Players don't really seem to question whether or not people can make the game, even when what they're promising is 500,000 square kilometers with thousands of realistically scaled cities, towns, and labyrinthine dungeons to explore. Good luck. Have fun. Have fun making that work. Something inherently satisfying about looting mechanics like that. Yeah, I agree. And I like when loot is sensible and usable. So I think Elden Ring is one of the greatest examples of, if you see an enemy wearing armor, there is a high likelihood that you can farm that enemy for that armor or for the weapon that it's carrying. And I love that. I love that. It just makes that game so much fun to replay and to, 100%. I love it. Make a new loot skeleton junk. Junk. We have arrow, bone, and bow that I think we can have the skeleton drop. Let's do J arrow, amount 1, weight 1. J bow. J bone. Instead of calling that, we'll call this junk table. That'll work, and then we can do loot, skeleton, marrow. And this will be between 1 and 3 marrow with a chance at nothing. Just gotta go to bed. Yeah, take care, Odin, and good luck on your stuff. No, Rust isn't a game for this context, but the actual mechanics of Rust are really slick and satisfying. I never got into Rust, but also I'm not a big PvP fan. I used to be. Not nowadays. I'm like a old school Battlefield kind of player. I like co-op games and like co-op PvP games. But nowadays I just play primarily if I play a game, I'm gonna play a co-op game. Like Helldivers, Deep Rock Galactic, GTFO. I like succeeding with other people. I don't know how to put it. PvP scenes nowadays are pretty chaotic and toxic. Okay, 3, 2, 1, that's 6, and we'll say 40% chance at nothing, 60% chance at something, and then a 50% chance of that. So 30% to be 1 marrow, 20% 2, and then 10% chance for 3 marrow. That should work. Co-op games are very popular these days. Yeah, they are. They definitely are. Maybe one day I'll make a co-op game. I'm kind of a... The thing is, I make games, you know, that I would like to play too. And that I enjoy. And I just don't have anybody to play co-op games with for the most part. But one day I would like to make one. I don't know what it would be though. My fiance doesn't really get too deep into games for the most part. Okay, so we'll call maybe 2 calls to loot skeleton. Nah, 1 call to loot skeleton. 1 call to loot gold, I think. Skeleton. Where is this bad boy? There he is. One call to loot gold and... One call to loot skeleton marrow. Okay, thank you for updating the file's revision control status. Do you want to finish doing that maybe? So I can keep working? Unreal. Okay, there we go. That was weird. Alright, where's the skeleton? There he is. Fiance with 2 E's. In this case. 19 gold. I guess that is possible to not get marrow. That's a 10% chance. Let me try to re-trigger that to make sure everything's working fine. Ooh. 2 and 1. Okay, when you're not. No worries. There we go. Skeleton marrow, a bone, and 13 gold. Looks good. Only if Henry Cavill presented himself, I would question my sexuality. But I think most guys would question their sexuality when it comes to Henry Cavill. In all fairness. I'm not gay, but... would I rather live my life and say that I had sex with Henry Cavill or that I turned down sex with Henry Cavill? He might finish quickly, you know, it won't have to be too discomforting to me. He could be gentle. He could be gentle. And, you know, he might... I could say, okay, talk about Warhammer at the same time, and maybe, you know, I can distract myself a little bit. Brad Pitt for you? Yeah, I mean... would you rather go through life saying that you had sex with Brad Pitt? I mean, I feel like that's a good pickup line, too, for women. If you're single, and you're straight, but you have sex with Brad Pitt, guaranteed, more women will want to talk to you than if you said that you turned down sex with Brad Pitt. I'm just saying. There's an argument that being gay will make you better at being straight. In some scenarios. Okay. I'm pretty happy then with the loot tables for the skeletons and zombies. We just need to actually make sure that they have that the new ingredients have effects and flavor, and they don't. Let me set that to in progress. If you're wondering, by the way, we have a publicly available progress tracker. And that is, if I'm looking over on the side of the screen and messing with things, that's what I'm looking at. I was moving enemy creature loot tables to in progress. So you guys can see this by typing in ! progress. And some of these are linked to design articles. We're still in the progress of getting this set up and working well, but hopefully this gives you guys a more transparent view of what we plan to work on and what is prioritized. And of course, potion combat is very prioritized. That is our next big piece of work to do, and that will include the dungeon as well. So yeah, a lot of work to do. I uploaded a video over the weekend to talk a bit about where we were and where we're going with the next build. Where is it? Here, an update on potion combat, Cauldron Chronicles. Since it has been a long time since our last build, but the reason is we have a lot planned for the next build. You know, the farming system, the fishing system are all new, the merchant system is all new, the overhaul to effects and flavors, that's new too. All of the potion combat stuff, the enemies, and the dungeon will all be new as well. So it's going to be our meatiest prototype update, and that's why it's just taken us a bit longer to get it out. Just because you have gay sex, that does not mean that you're gay. I mean, I think too that, you know, there's more danger and risk involved with banging a woman than it is to just bang your bro. What does it actually mean to be gay? That'll give you guys something to think about. Okay, what am I doing here? Animations, potion drinking. I fixed up some bugs over the weekend too that I found. Loading screen. Could I actually implement a loading screen? I don't know what it takes to make a loading screen. I've never made a loading screen. We have our main menu. And I like it, but it does not have a loading screen when you go between the main game and the rest of the game. You can play with the animals in this loading screen though, or in the main menu. Some fun stuff to click on. Yeah, I gotta take a look into what it takes to propagate back and check if a level has properly loaded or not. I could fake a loading screen, but I'd rather just do one that is a bit more proper. It's a good learning scenario. Yeah, you can click the ball in the main menu and play with the animals. They like to hit the ball as well. That's kind of fun. Yeah, the async loading. Yeah, I gotta look into it. I'm pretty sure there's documentation on it. UE5 loading screen. 12-minute how to create a loading screen. Okay. What are we looking at? Image, sure. Movie paths, async loading screen. Is that default? No. What is that? Oh. Okay. let's add that. I did not know that. This looks nice. Let's see how this works. Don't like that one. I just need it to work. As long as it works, I'm happy. I will need to update my plugin repo then. We'll do that. Can't use a custom widget? That's fine. Whatever. Although they're using this and it has a custom loading screen, so... Clearly you can. Since this appears to be their loading screen. We'll see. We will see. Why do I not see it? Oh, I don't care about the widget. It just needs to work. Prototype. We'll get it proper when we want to get it proper. Oh god, where is it? Let me reload the engine. It just needs a reload. Somebody was playing with it over the weekend. Was it you, Rex, or was it someone else? And they were mentioning that they had to wait like 20 seconds for things to load. So I will finally get a loading screen implemented. Been too long without one. Playing our game. Somebody was playing it over the weekend. I can't remember who. Oh, it was Kent. I don't know if he's still here. Okay, how do we get this to work? Do you use Lumen and Nanite? I do use Lumen and I use Nanite. And Nanite has been great. Lumen is scary to me. We are definitely going to need a very competent lighting artist to make sure that we don't fuck up with Lumen. But Unreal 5.5 having mega lights will make it better. In some cases. Not everything, but in some cases. How do you set this up? We'll always run at a level open, that's fine. I don't care if it always runs. I'd rather it always run. I have a master script which handles all the practical loading, and inside the script you can add a string output based on how far it is into the loading. In a loading screen you can output what it is loading for debug purposes or to console. Let me get this running just to see. Let's listen to this guy.
And this grouping here shows you.
Okay, go back.
This in folder image file in this case.
Okay, image. Okay.
1920 by 8 things. And inside the project settings, we have now under the game category, we have an async loading screen tab. And this grouping here shows you what kind of information that you have available to you to set up some things.
Okay.
So first off, you have a startup loading screen. So this one is where you probably want to have something like your intro cinematics and stuff.
Is it just working though? I mean, hold on. Let me go to the main menu. Try playing the game. You can show me a Lumen overview how it looks on your scene, minus whole, some of yellow, it's good or bad. Oh, like in the Lumen overview, I bet that most of our scene is probably red and horrible. It's not optimized. Okay, it's not working. How do I get it to work? Async loading screen. I think he'll tell me. Let's go further.
Like that. So it sort of overlaps a little bit with how movies works here in Project.
Yeah.
So this one will have a second level two-person maps as well. We can say that this is supposed to be pick a. From here we want to be able to traverse to this other map. So we'll just put in some simple code to allow us to do that. Our key, and we can travel to another map. Nothing is really happening. And the reason for this is that, let's see, I want to stop. Let me stop. There we go. That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Okay, so the async loading screen plugin will not kick in when you're playing in your editor. It will only play when you are in either standalone or you have your built game, essentially.
That's kind of hard to test. So is it always working but only in build or standalone? I do not think I can make... I mean, that's fine. I don't need it to work on my end, but I do need it to work for players. But I would like to test if it's working, and I think that if I click standalone, it might be it might take a long time for this to load. We will see. Everything should be compiled though, so it shouldn't be too bad. We will see. Okay, let's hold on for main menu shaders to compile. Nav mesh needs to be rebuilt. That's so true. You're so right. That was a loading screen? Okay, hold on. I'm very curious what it will look like when I press start. It mostly waited. It mostly worked. Okay. So we can rotate between images. That's kind of cool. It doesn't wait for shaders. Well, yeah, that's because shaders would automatically be compiled, right? In the version that would be played by players. Standalone would probably still wait for shaders. But when you make a build, you build the shaders for the player. In most cases. So that's probably fine. It's better than nothing. And set a minimum time. Let me look at that. Minimum loading screen display time. Amount of time that a loading screen should be open for. Oh, if movie playback continue until stop is called. Okay. Let me see here. Start uploading screen. Loading widget. Okay. Okay, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. Already set that to.
But 40K.
Let's put it in a movie path. I don't really want to use a movie. I'm okay with using an image. All movie files must be located at content movies directory. I might use a movie later, but for now it's fine. let's just throw a default image in somewhere, which I will pull from maybe our Twitter. I know I posted some screenshots in 1080p on there. Let's see. Maybe it was our LinkedIn. Let me go to LinkedIn. Here we go. Oh, I do have the interaction widget visible. It's fine. It's better than nothing. Let's just use it. Save image as. Okay. Photo shaders is a good practice to pre-build shaders when facing problems that in game mode I'm seeing how grass starts to be seen in front of me, and there are some spikes when some VFX spawns at first time, so I think that is because of shaders. In the built version of the game or when you're playing your game? Like in editor? Playing in editor. When you're playing in editor, you might see spikes because you don't pre-build shaders in the editor. You do that in the game. Give me a sec. And you can't really avoid that. Okay, where is loading screen? Okay, I think this is on the startup widget. So we should see it here? Or is this the wrong one? No. Should I do special pre-compile for standalone game? You shouldn't have to, but there might be some things that you would want to. Because when you go to build your game, it will compile all the shaders for every setting of the game, and then package those in. You shouldn't have to, but I am not knowledgeable enough to know. Oh, this issue only happens in the standalone or launch mode. The packaged game should work fine. If you don't encounter this issue while when developing, don't enable this option since it will keep the background images in the memory all the time. Therefore consumes memory resources. I see. Let me see what happens if I click that then. So like I thought, in prepackaged game, we wouldn't have a problem with that. But standalone, we might have the issue. I still don't see it though. Why? Okay, it at least shows. That is awkward. let's set to fill. We could try user specified. No, I'll just set it to fill. Okay, it's better. There probably is a loading bar down here that I can't see because for some reason it's starting it not up in the upper left. Let me move it up here and try it. Yeah, we don't have the throbber or anything. Okay. That's fine though. That looks okay. What's more important for me is the functionality of waiting so that players don't load into that blank level and it kind of is jarring to see an empty, flat landscape. Anything that looks good beyond that is just kind of pointless. Oh, this should be set to false. Yeah, but that's... I feel like that's the only thing that got it to show properly. I am trying to fix your complaint, Kent. The main menu might be a little... annoying, though. Allow user to set 2K and 4K resolution, so resolution should be get from some function, or this to the values XY should be added manually. What I do is I just allow the player to set their resolution here. But I type these in manually, but then I parse them into the function to set it. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but it is a way. Playing editor has some weird problems though, so you guys can't see it, but it is spanning both my monitors. That's how I kind of handle it. Why is this being let me check what I do for you. It is a working way. It may not be the best way. On the resolution dropdown, I just type these in manually. I set the default option. And then when we apply options, I parse this and set the screen resolution here via the game user settings. Loading text top position, loading text right position. I didn't see these at all. Or the throbber. And I don't know why. Maybe Throbber's white. Hey, Extreme. Yeah, I think it's possible. I don't know what's going on. I don't see it at all. We can go back to the tutorial, though, on that video and check. Used a Git supported full screen resolutions BP and it returns array of resolutions. That's pretty cool. Without 2K and 4K, I'm adding it manually. I didn't know that blueprint existed. That's pretty nice. Let me see before I change that if this is how it's supposed to look when you first use it.
Have it properly named. Game loads up and it starts playing the video. And this video, this will allow us to actually skipping screen without screens essentially. A widget overlay to set to false so that it's not going to be showing that overlay. But in the case of loading screen, we want to have a widget overlay. At least I do for this case.
Yeah, it's white for him too, so clearly...
So here you can see that. We see the actual loading screen and our border in the bottom. It's something that only appears in standalone. If you do the build game, it shouldn't be appearing.
Wait, repeat that?
Transitioning. So here you can see that. We see the actual loading screen and our border in the bottom before we're getting into the map. Before we actually saw the image itself, though, we got a gray... placeholder image, and what that is all about is it's something that only appears in standalone. If you do the build game, it shouldn't be appearing.
Yeah. How did you change the white
we have
bar?
some white border. So what is the white borders all about? Well, the white borders is what the widget is all about. So in this case, we have the classic layouts. We have a border background here. If we go and set the tint over here to black, for example, and then play again, it will be a little bit more clear, I believe, on what's happening because we skip
in the
movie
darkness
and we start transitioning to the next level. You can see that we get a loading message and a throbber playing.
I see. Okay. It was in the tint. It was in the tint. Where did he adjust the tint? Shit. Wait, go back. Hold on. Where was it? Layout, classic, border background tint. Just type in tint. This is the throbber settings, though. Was it the setting for the throbber? No, it's in like a whole section for layout classic. Didn't see that. Oh, here it is. The Throbber. Coming now from XXX Studios. I don't know why by default that shows white tint. That's kind of weird, isn't it? And some of the issues that are present here will not be present in the built game. That's good. So we can't properly test it until we make a build, which is fine. As long as it is working. Maybe I'll make a build over this next weekend or something. I mean, technically that's good enough. I'm not a big fan of the Throbber, though. Circular throbber. Kind of look poo-poo. Document. Change animation speed. Stop loading screen. Enable the B allow engine tick option. Call this function in begin play event to stop the loading screen. Works with delay node. That's what I'm wondering is if I could turn that on. We could just add like a 3 to 5 second delay on something that we know loads last in the hierarchy. Well, we'll see. You know what, we'll see. I don't think we're doing anything poorly right now. Okay, it's in the loading icon. The most important component of the plugin, loading widget, lets players know that the game is still running. And we can set a custom icon for the loading and custom text too. Okay. Here's the font. I could use the I Eat Crayons font for loading. I'm not sure this looks the greatest though. Oh, this is the wrong one. Yeah, there's two separate loading screens. Oh, it didn't show up. Why? Where's my IE crayons? Come on now. What are we doing? That was weird. It was almost done anyway. I'm just not gonna mess with it, to be honest. I'm not gonna mess with it. I think it's fine. It's fine if it says what it says. The most important thing is that it works, and I can always adjust it later if we get time, but right now, functionality over visuals. I don't know why the nav mesh needed to be rebuilt, though. That was kind of weird. Where's my nav mesh? Why did it say that? It is nice. It is very nice. It's nice that it's free too. One more time. I think the nav mesh in the main menu probably needs to be set to allow to build during runtime, or to rebuild. But this is fine too. Yeah, there's this sound issue. I actually fixed the sound issue on the main branch the other day. We need to do a big merge. Okay. Well, it's good. Loading screen resolved. I'll move that to finished. Also, if you are on our Discord, let me show you something. I made a channel for CC progress. And you would be able to click on these and see what gets resolved or modified or made. So you can keep track of our progress live within that. Okay, that's good though. Have anything else to work on today? I did not expect to finish up with the tutorial as quickly as I did, but I'm glad. I think tomorrow we can focus more on the new ingredients we've added and giving them effects and flavor. Maybe today we could watch a Tim Kaine video as a way to end the day. And we'll leave this off here, and then maybe tonight I'll try to merge from main, but there's kind of a few conflicts that I need to fix up with that. And that's gonna take a while. Oh, I need to season 2. Let me do that. What did we do today? We added loot for skeleton and zombie, including the ingredients. Added 4 new junk items. Added loading screen. Game. Kind of a random place to add the loading screen, but it works. Get those in. Yeah, if you take a look at the merge, we have 10 conflicts. Some of these are easy, some of them are a little bit more annoying. Also, I just doxed myself, that's fine. Okay, let's also go to the plugins and update the plugins with the new async loading screen. I think this is all async loading. Double check. Yeah, looks like it. Added async loading screen. Oh, nice and simple. All right, give me 1 second. I will go to the bathroom again. I know I just drink too much Coke, and we can watch a Tim Kaine video. But I will end the development stream day there for the YouTube recording. How does that sound? Alright, let's end it there for the YouTube. Bye bye YouTube, thank you for watching.